Here's your news for April 9th, 2020. We're starting off today with news from our new Universal Champion, as Braun Strowman has spoken about his past issues with WWE. Speaking to TalkSport, the monster among men described himself as just a big kid and revealed some of his actions out of the ring. He said, "I'm a giant kid. I don't even remotely act my age, and it gets me in trouble, and the boss probably hates it at times, but I like living. You get one opportunity at life, and I'm damn sure going to make the most of it. With the guys that I ride with, every weekend we find some kind of shenanigans to get into, whether it's go-kart racing, bumper cars, laser tag, some kind of food-eating contest, or we'll go into one of those trampoline parks or paintball, you name it. We act like 15-year-old boys." Braun Strowman's Instagram feed is updated on a regular basis with documentation of him doing outdoors activities that Vince McMahon hated, and hence his push was stopped. According to sources, Vince didn't want his company's biggest heel to behave like a kid. Despite this, Strowman is still the new Universal Champion, and is seemingly hell-bent on living life his way despite what anyone else says. Speaking of Strowman, the monster among men had a huge night at WrestleMania, and according to a tweet from WWE's official account, will be appearing on this Friday's SmackDown, and pondered who will step up to challenge the Universal Champion. It wasn't the only huge announcement made for this Friday's show though, as in a follow-up tweet, it was announced that the new women's tag team champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross will defend their gold against the Kabuki Warriors. This WrestleMania rematch will be a part of the latest set of WWE content tapings, as the company remains constant in trying to record content while they're still able. PW Insider's Mike Johnson claimed that Ripley's visa had expired and she needed to fly back to Australia to get it renewed. And due to the ongoing situation, traveling back to the States will be difficult. However, it seems that isn't the case, as the former NXT Women's Champion posted on social media that she is still in the United States. Ripley also gave a little video tour of her American surroundings. But did not mention whether she needed to travel back to her homeland for visa issues. On the Wrestling Observer forum, Dave Meltzer commented on the reports of Ripley being down under, saying, "I'm double-checking on this, but one person high up just denied that to me. Again, I'm not saying Mike Johnson is wrong. In this company, the left and right hand rarely know what the other is doing. But the person I checked with would know the creative reason given, which was Charlotte to NXT for ratings help." Speaking about her Mania loss, Ripley took to Twitter where she said, "I don't need your pity party. I need to do the one thing that I know best." All that we know for sure is that Ripley could be involved in WWE's busy taping schedule, but if she does have to travel back to Australia, it may be quite some time before fans see her back in a WWE ring. From someone who came up short at WrestleMania to someone who won big, as PW Insider have explained why Drew McIntyre defended his title against The Big Show on Raw. They said, "The idea to show McIntyre beating both Lesnar and Show in succession, taking out two of the biggest beasts in the company in one fell swoop. If this booking continues for McIntyre, then he could be in line for a lengthy, successful title reign." Speaking of Raw, one name who returned on this week's show was Nia Jax, who has spoken on her friendship with Alexa Bliss. Speaking on a live stream hosted by Paige this week, the conversation featured Paige, the Iconics, Nia Jax, Renee Young, and Natalya. The former Raw Women's Champion spoke about protecting her friend, saying, "I'm not going to mention any names, but Lexi was working an angle. She was continuously getting hurt in a certain angle with somebody. And I don't remember her not saying anything, specifically because she wanted to be a team player. I personally would not allow her to get back in the ring to get hurt again. And I had to go to the people, to the higher-ups, and tell them, listen, Lexi is 5'0", 100 pounds, getting thrown around like a little rag doll and injured every night. I was like, put me in. I'm a 6 foot, 300 pound and I can handle it." Though Nia didn't name names, the majority of fans watching speculated that the person in question was Ronda Rousey, though it should be noted that Nia Jax is also known for injuring more than her fair share of superstars along the way. We are taking a break from WWE to focus on AEW now, as Jake Roberts has said that he's suffering due to his recent appearances for the company. Speaking to Wrestling Inc., the WWE Hall of Famer spoke about being requested by AEW to be a part of a taping during the ongoing situation, and this led to something of a confrontation with Diamond Dallas Page, who was self-isolating at the time. He said, "I was living with Dallas, and he was one of the first people to say if you leave, you can't come back. Well, AEW wanted me to come out, so I went and did it, but I couldn't go back to Dallas's house. He had a baby in the house, and nobody needs to be sick around a baby. He took the hard line and said, dude, if you leave, you can't come back." Though DDP was the one who helped Roberts overcome his demons thanks to DDP Yoga, it's completely understandable why the former world champion wouldn't want him in the house during the current climate. In a series of tweets, Roberts has hinted at his mental health not doing so well, though Lance Archer, who he manages on Dynamite, tweeted that the pair have had a talk and things are fine. We can only hope things improve for the Snake soon as he continues to manage Archer on AEW Dynamite each week. Back to WWE now, and one of the major highlights of WrestleMania was the Boneyard match, but one person who wasn't a fan was Jim Cornette. Speaking about the match, the controversial announcer and manager said, "This is, I'm afraid to say, Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn's ultimate dream of what wrestling can be. And you know, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, should be a movie star. I don't know, that's maybe why he did this, because he's not going to wrestle anymore? But he can do this for a while yet and look good doing it. He got paid a large sum of money to have a Hollywood audition." Speaking about AJ Styles, who would lose the match to the Dead Man, Cornette commented on AJ's pleas not to be buried. He said, "AJ saying, 'Don't bury me, bro, don't bury me. They already have, AJ.'" Though Cornette clearly wasn't a fan, it's safe to say that the vast majority of people enjoyed the Boneyard match, and from what reports have stated, fans can expect to see more of the American Badass in the coming years. Speaking of the Boneyard match, AJ Styles has literally resurfaced and has made his first comments since being buried alive by the Phenom. On Instagram, the Phenomenal One posted a shot of his hand sticking out of the grave and promoted his live stream saying, "I'm alive on mixer.com/StylesClash." It'll be interesting to see what kind of Styles fans see when he returns to WWE, as being buried alive would change anyone, even if they're phenomenal. From one Mania match to another now, as on Night 2, John Cena lost his mind inside the Firefly Funhouse, and now WWE are cashing in a major way. During the encounter, fans saw the Mr. McBossman puppet describe the encounter as "such good shit," a line that Vince McMahon has reportedly used backstage, according to Jon Moxley. Now the WWE is selling a shirt with the puppet and the infamous line on it, as WWE are showing that they're not afraid of being the butt of the joke, and make some serious money along the way. We've got some huge championship news now, as on the latest edition of The Bump, NXT GM William Regal revealed that the Cruiserweight champion Jordan Devlin is unable to defend his title. Due to the ongoing situation affecting global travel, Devlin is unable to travel to the States to defend the gold, and Regal announced that an interim champion will be crowned, with a tournament scheduled to take place over the next set of Performance Center tapings. On Twitter, Devlin delivered an in-character promo, describing the new champion as a fraud, and it looks like fans can look forward to a battle of two Cruiserweight champions once life goes back to normal. With WrestleMania now in the rearview mirror, the WWE's attention turns to Money in the Bank, and while the show is still slated for May 10th, there are some serious questions about where it'll take place. Right now, all we know about the show is that it will feature at least one Money in the Bank ladder match, but during Mandy Rose's live Instagram feed, Otis appeared and teased another match for the May pay-per-view. On the feed, the Heavy Machinery star teased a mixed tag, pitting himself and the Golden Goddess against Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville, and this isn't too different from the originally planned six-man tag for WrestleMania, which would have seen Heavy Machinery and Rose face Deville, Ziggler, and Robert Roode. Hopefully fans will get some answers as we approach the pay-per-view, which looks like it could be the second straight event in a row without a live crowd. One woman who knows all about winning big at Money in the Bank is Bayley, who capitalized on last year's briefcase win to become the longest-reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Turning heel during her reign, Bayley spoke to Sporting News this week about ditching her hugger persona, saying, "I went out of my way to also ask Daniel Bryan when we were on tour one time, because he had also gone from being the lovable guy and the guy that everybody was cheering for to the guy that turned his back on everybody. I wanted to get his take on what was difficult for him, and he helps me out a lot just as far as where to step up my aggressiveness and everything." This change of attitude has clearly worked for Bayley, who retained her SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania and has shown no sign of dropping the blue and white title anytime soon. We've got news from Out of the Ring now, as Vice has given their first look at their Dark Side of the Ring episode that will focus on Jimmy Snuka. The latest episode in Season 2 will focus on the death of Snuka's girlfriend Nancy Argentino in 1983, allegedly at the hands of the Superfly. With this season of Dark Side of the Ring being the most watched show in Vice TV history, fans should expect a third season to be commissioned, as the series will also cover the assassination of Dino Bravo, the death of Owen Hart, and the Road Warriors this season. One man who's been present at some of wrestling's most historic events is Arn Anderson, and while he's with AEW now, he worked with WWE for years. This week's episode of his podcast focused on Extreme Rules in 2010, and co-host Conrad Thompson asked Arn if it was around this time that he and Vince McMahon's relationship began to sour. When I really started to notice it was about 5 years out from, around 2015. I was getting blamed for things that were out of my control. I was getting blamed for stuff that myself and 4 top talent or 5 top talent like in a tag match. It's probably for the best that Anderson left when he did, as he seems to be doing much better in AEW, where he is bringing in his decades of experience to the upstart company. And finally today we're ending with news from NXT, as this week's show ended with a huge debut. After Candice LeRae assisted her husband Johnny Gargano in his war with Tommaso Ciampa, the couple quickly made their escape into the parking lot where fans spotted Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux sitting in a car. In addition to being a real-life couple, Kross and Bordeaux have worked together in various companies, including AAA, and time will tell what the Killer Smoke Show has in store for the superstars of NXT.